It's Chris with retrosession.org. I'm so happy you're here. This is episode 5 of Step into Bliss. Today, we're going to step into courage. 3 days ago, we started off by stepping into your ideal life. And really, the remainder of the episodes in this podcast, and I really mean that, whether there are another 100, 1,000, 10,000, but really, as many episodes as there are, they're all little pieces of that process of stepping into your ideal life. Then 2 days ago, we stepped into love. With love, we all want it. We all see its value. But there was still some challenge there. And then, yesterday, we stepped into forgiveness. While we all want love, and we're often willing to make some sacrifices to find it, forgiveness is different. In the end, as I talked about in yesterday's companion YouTube video, forgiveness benefits us no matter what. But that's not why we're doing it. And it's almost always hard. That's why it's a practice. It's something that we do intentionally. It may not come naturally. It's hard. But still, in the end, there is always benefit from forgiveness, whether to us, the other, both. Today, as we step into courage, know that courage doesn't always guarantee happiness at the end of that path. In fact, sometimes the result of courage is disaster. So that's what sets this episode apart. We may choose courage, but there may be no benefit to it. Nevertheless, we choose it. Why do we choose it? I'm going to get into that in today's YouTube video. You can find me on YouTube at Retrosession Works. But I want to give you one quote before we begin here. Aristotle said that courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees all others. He saw courage as the foundation on which all other desirable human qualities rest. Kindness, honesty, generosity, humility. He saw them all as resting on courage. So what kind of person do we want to be today, tomorrow, for the rest of our lives? Are we going to step into courage? Just start to settle in if you haven't yet. Shifting is needed to get as comfortable as possible. If you need a pillow beneath the knees, or if you're seated, if you need to sit on a pillow, get one. Pause. Come back. Do you need to cover your eyes? Keep the light out. Is there a noise you need to stop? Do what you need to do and then come back. And as you settle in, notice the sensation of your body supported by the chair, the bed, the floor, wherever you may be. Scan through all those spots where your body touches the ground or other support. Just noticing the sensation of pressure there. Notice how you feel supported, held. And starting at the tips of your toes, we're going to take a quick body scan, scanning up pretty rapidly, noticing sensations in the body as we go. We're getting up into the knees, relaxing, releasing as you scan up into the thighs, through hips and abdomen, through chest, and take it down to fingertips, up to tops of your shoulders, to the top of your head. Now, with your attention at the top of your head, take your attention all the way back down through the body to the tips of your toes. And bounce your attention from tips of toes back to the top of your head, keeping this scanning up a few times. Each scan, relaxing a little deeper into your seat, your bed, the floor. As you scan, notice the body relaxes all the way from the skin down to the muscles, to the joints, all the way down to the marrow of your bones. And the scan starts to slow. Still scanning, but it slows. And the next time it arrives at either the top of your head or the tips of your toes, allow it to stop and just breathe. Breath after breath, moment by moment. From your first seconds on this planet, in this body, to your last. Floating on the breath. You might notice your breath as the rise and fall, expansion and contraction of your chest. With each in-breath, you're riding that wave. Each out-breath coming down the other side. You might even start to feel the body lifted as the waves come in. Held, supported, rocked, lowered as the waves come down. See if you can feel that in your body. Waves coming in. Waves going out. Each wave out, relaxing, releasing a little more. Each breath, an opportunity to sink in a little bit deeper. Long, slow, deep breath. Just enjoy the relaxation. If thoughts or other distractions come in, no big deal. Just gently and lovingly come back. You might even start to feel like your body spreads out, like liquid on a hard surface. It spreads out, getting broader, wider, more relaxed, taking up more space, getting deeper. Now, where do you fear? What's stopping you from moving forward? We're talking about courage. Without approaching that fear, what is there to be courageous about? So we have to go to that potentially challenging place. What are you afraid of? I'm not asking you to search your mind for what you're afraid of. If you find yourself doing it, it's okay. But relax again. And I'll ask the question again. But when I ask, notice what pops up for you. Maybe you see an image. Maybe you hear something or feel a sensation, an emotion that comes up, or just a knowingness. Listen to it, especially if your mind tries to move on to something else. That's usually the best sign that you're in the place you need to be. Which fear is holding you back? Notice it. Sit with it. Just like the breath. We're sitting with that fear. Notice how it feels in your body. Probably doesn't feel good. That's okay. Like every episode, this is an opportunity to try something new. We're so used to running from fear. What happens if we sit with it? If we relax into it, step into it? So seldom do we go there. See what happens. Just breathing. Bringing up that fear to the extent you can. Noticing sensations in the body. Notice what the mind wants to do at this moment. Is your mind trying to run? To find a distraction? Does it want you to do the dishes instead of staying here? Or some other task? Sit with that too. Notice. Be there with it. Listen. Feel the fear, feel the resistance. Notice its contours, sensations, emotions, and thoughts associated with it. Now, sitting in that fear, right now, in your body, let's fast forward in time a little further ahead. Assuming you've had the courage to overcome that fear, where do you end up? Let the mind go. Imagine. Where do you end up when you've overcome that fear? Feel it. See it. Is it something to rejoice in? Is there a sense of satisfaction that comes with overcoming that fear? Where are you? You may even start to play out some scenes. How do you react? How does life change when you've overcome this fear? Let's be positive. There's time for realism later. What's the best result that can come from this courage? from overcoming that fear? Where do you go? Where does life take you? How are your relationships? Most importantly, how do you feel in your body when you've overcome that fear? Really revel in it. Enjoy it, see it, hear it. Maybe even taste it and smell it. Feel it. The fear is gone. What will you do with it? What will you do with your newfound freedom? Now, just like we fast forwarded to the moment when you've let go of that fear, when you've surpassed it, let's rewind a bit. You might even imagine time going backwards quickly, like you're rewinding on a DVD or VHS tape. It rewinds back to the moment, that first moment when you overcame the fear. What happened then? What action did you take? What hard conversation did you have? Where were you when you overcame that fear? Let the imagination run. Really see it. Are you with others? Are you by yourself? What are you doing? What do you hear around you? What do you feel with your skin? Bring in all the senses. And you have a knob that can turn up the brightness of the colors, the crispness of the sounds, the intensity of the sensations. Turn that knob up as much as you'd like. Or if it's too intense, turn it down. Bring in all the details to the best of your ability. Where are you when you overcome that fear? What are you doing? What steps are you taking? Really see it. And if you get to the end, great. Rewind again and run through it again, getting some more detail, really feeling it. Run through it as many times as you need to before we move on. Most importantly, feel it in your body as you overcome that fear. Now, we're going to rewind again, coming back to this present moment as you sit or lie here listening. What stands between you and that moment when you finally overcome your fear? What step do you take first? For someone who's terrified of a speech they want to give, maybe they schedule that speech. Or for someone who wants to get up the courage and is afraid to ask for a raise at work. Or for those who need to cut off a toxic relationship. Maybe it's a text or a call to set up a time to meet with somebody. or for someone who's looking to get some more education, it's registering for a class or finding out what's needed to register for a class. Everyone's starting somewhere different. What's the first step for you in overcoming your fear? Really see it. Same thing. Really see it, feel it, hear it, maybe even taste it. What does it feel like in your body? How do your emotions feel when you take that first step? Now, for this next step, we're going to do something a little different. Still lying or sitting here, quiet, relaxed. Just bring your attention back to your breath again. Just breathing, relaxing. As many times as it takes, just letting distractions go gently and lovingly, coming back to your breath. Now, really get the sensation of your head. So this is like the body scan, but we're taking the whole head into your awareness. Just notice the sensations there. From your scalp, your skin, down to the center of your brain. Just notice it. And start to relax even deeper. All the way down to the very center of your brain. I know there's no muscles there. But when you find that relaxation, you'll know we often hold tension deep in the brain. It can feel like something settling in your skull when you finally find it and release it. Do your best. Now, bring that fear to mind. Whatever that means to you, there's no wrong way to do it. Just bring it to mind. Maybe you feel it, or maybe you just know that you've brought it to mind. Maybe you see some representation of it. Just do it. Don't worry about whether you're doing it right. Bring that fear to mind. Now, holding that fear, start to imagine energy moving through the head. So it passes through the forehead, it comes around to the right side of the head, comes around to the left side of the head, back up through the top. It moves through the head in a circular motion, however you understand that. There's no wrong way to do it. Just imagine a circular path. You may see it as a point that moves around the skull, outside of the skull, maybe right inside. Just feel it coming around the head in a circular motion. The fear held in your attention doesn't have to be a heavy attention, just lightly bringing that energy, bringing that point, sweeping it around the head, all the way around. It sweeps around the chin, through the left side of the head, up to the top, down the right side, back around the chin again. Just keep that energy sweeping around, and maybe as it starts to come up next time on the left side of the brain, you feel the left side of the brain activate, and then it comes over to the right, and you feel the right side of the brain activate, and it comes back around left and then right. It can feel like a little balloon blowing up in the left side of the brain, then the right, and then the left, and then the right, and it comes around again and again. Just keep that sweeping motion up. Or maybe the left side of the brain and then the right lights up. No wrong way to do it. Keep bringing that energy, that point, the attention around the head again and again, lighting up one side of the brain, then the other. However you feel it, just allow it to continue coming around and notice if anything changes with your fear. Just keep that energy moving around through the head, lighting up one side of the brain and then the other, again and again. Noticing the sensations that arise or fall away in the body. Notice how the emotions react. Sometimes it can get a little more difficult as you do this. Maybe the fear intensifies. If that happens, you're doing it right. Notice it and continue. We're sweeping it around one side of the brain to the other, really feeling it activate. Maybe you see it as a colored light. Maybe you don't see it at all, but you just feel it as one side of the brain opens up, lights up, expands a little bit, and then on the other side, again and again. Bringing it around over and over. Just noticing what changes. And you may continue this after this ends. You'll know when you're done. Again, it's different for everyone. But as you bring your attention around from one side of the head to the other in that sweeping motion, something will change. Maybe you feel a little more energy come in. Maybe you feel a little bit of courage. Courage to take that step. Or maybe you have some deeper realization about what's been holding you back, that fear. Maybe even some memories pop up. Some memories from earlier in your life relevant to this fear. Whatever happens, just keep sweeping until you know you're done. And if you're going to continue, you can disregard what I say from here on out, or even stop. You can keep on sweeping as long as you like, noticing what comes up, what changes. And for all of you, it's a great opportunity to journal when you're done. Go for a walk outside in nature. And see how you feel. Notice. Now for those of you who are done, notice your body resting in the chair, in the bed, on the floor, wherever you are. Feel where your body is supported. Notice where you're supported by the chair, the floor, a bed. Notice the sounds in the room. The ambient noises in the room. The sounds filtering in from outside. And the sound of your breath. And start to bring gentle movements into fingers and toes, gradually increasing the size of those movements into hands and feet. Wrists and ankles circle. Bigger movements through arms and legs. Elbows and knees move, head may drop side to side, until you reach overhead with fingertips, toes in the opposite direction for a full body stretch. And then step into the next moments of the rest of your life. Thanks so much for joining me for Step into Bliss. This is Chris from retrosession.org.